Do you ever dream about leaving your job? Some people have a passion for music or art or personal finance, but not everybody acts on it. Maybe your passion remains a hobby, or maybe one day you'll actually take the plunge in making that hobby your full time career. It's not easy to do, but I know one guy that did it. My buddy John Eringman, aka Johnefinance, he's got over 1 million followers between TikTok and Instagram, and he was able to turn his dream of becoming a content creator into a reality. Now, it wasn't easy, it didn't happen overnight, but he did it. And if you're interested in one day taking your passion and turning it into a career, or just hearing how he did this, you've got to watch this episode. Now, before we dive into it, as always, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel, click that button below, in fact, smash it, and now let's watch the show. John, welcome to Fireside Chats, buddy.
Ian, thanks for having me, man. Super excited to chat. And I mean, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to help people with their finances and financial independence. So I'm super excited to chat with you, man.
You know, you were one of the first finance creators that I followed online. You and Budget Dog and the Fi Couple, the OG3. I'll call them.
That's pretty good company right there. Yeah.
Yeah, all amazing, but really inspiring, and it's a pretty big day for you too. 2 years on TikTok, right?
Yeah. So I posted that on TikTok. My 2 year anniversary on TikTok was technically in December, like late December of 2019. Just didn't make it to Instagram until a little bit later. So,
Instagram's way behind.
Yeah. 2 years, man. And it's been a heck of a ride. I'm just very blessed on this journey.
That's amazing. So I want to talk to you about careers. And we always think about our jobs, or at least sometimes we think about our jobs as, being this 9 to 5. And a lot of us have this idea of maybe breaking out of that 9 to 5 one day and doing something we're super passionate about, being on the beach or being a content creator.
Yeah.
And so I admire what you did. You do this full time now, and would love to just hear a little bit about how you were actually able to make the leap, and what did you even do before? I don't know.
Yeah, all great questions. And it's just crazy how significant, someone's life can change in 2 years. We think a year or two isn't a lot of time, but it is a significant amount of time if you're being intentional with what you're doing. So my story on how I made the leap from I was working a 9 to 5 as an accountant, and then eventually I moved away, and now I'm a full-time content creator. So basically what happened was I graduated college with a finance degree. And I kind of realized that, financial education wasn't taught in the school system. Like me being a finance major, I'm like, okay, we didn't learn about building wealth. We didn't learn about investment accounts or retirement accounts or saving money or anything like that. And so I saw the lack of financial education. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to start posting videos about financial education to help other people. And so I started doing that, and consistently I was posting, 3 to 4 videos a week. And, I was doing that for probably, I would say 18 months before I even made any money off of it. Like the goal wasn't to make money at all. I just had fun doing it. And so after 18 months of making no money and just putting all my effort into TikTok, finally started to get a tiny bit of revenue. And it wasn't much, but I think the catalyst, or the kind of mindset shift that I had, TurboTax actually reached out to me a year ago, and they said, hey, we'll pay you to make a video for us. And I was like, okay, I've never been pitched that before, I took it, and they actually paid me $3,000 to make one video. And I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, I could make some money off of this. And, whether it's sponsorships or affiliates or, selling your own courses or books or anything, there's definitely money to be made in social media. And that's kind of what flipped the switch in my brain, is okay, now, I'm not going to sell out by any means, but I could potentially make a living and offering my services to people. So that's kind of the backstory and how I really felt comfortable of making the leap.
So you realized there was this possibility to go from just posting content to now maybe this can be your full-time job. Mm-hmm. But when did you actually decide I'm gonna do this? Now I'm all in.
Yeah. So I definitely didn't take the leap right away. I was like, okay, I made, $3,000 from TurboTax, but that's just a one-off deal. And so I was thinking, okay, I was like, okay, maybe if I do like maybe one deal a month, would that like be sufficient to go full time? And the thing was, is like, I was living so frugally already. I was house hacking one. So, I didn't have really much of a housing expense. I drive a paid off car. I just live, pretty frugally in general. So I was thinking, I was like, okay, like I could probably live off of like 3 grand a month, even if I just did one sponsored post a month, or even if if I did an ebook and made, a couple hundred or a couple thousand from that. It's definitely a possibility to go full time because I was living frugally. I want the audience to know that because I was living frugally, I felt the ability to make the full-time jump. And that was after probably 5 months after I did my first deal. So, 5 or 6 months until I actually, okay, like this is what I can do full-time.
So you talk about living frugally. Had you always been that way, or did you need to become a frugal liver for some reason?
I would say like in general, I was mostly like frugal growing up, but I mean, I did spend on like just clothes and cars, but until I got really intentional, until I realized the power of financial independence and financial freedom and all that. And that wasn't even until like after college, I realized that, I realized that living on less, you can actually have more time freedom. And that's the ultimate goal. Right. And so I started training myself to start just cutting back and just like not spend on things I didn't value. And so that's kind of how I ended up in the frugal position. And I started house hacking again, cut one of my biggest line items out of my budget. That was the reason I was able to live so frugally, is because I was living intentionally. I wasn't spending on cars. I wasn't buying designer clothes, and I was house hacking. So those are like the three big things that really helped me.
Living intentionally is so important. And when I talk to people about paying off debt, people ask me questions. They say, I have a ton of credit card debt or student loans. What should I do? I think one of the most important things is getting organized, being able to organize your expenses and know how much you spend, and then getting intentional with it. It's vital. It's like the most important thing, because if you're living mindlessly, you're just going to overspend on all this stuff. And that's where the goals go out the window.
Yeah.
So
100% agree. I just want to touch on that. Like, there's a phrase, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so if you're not measuring how much you spend, you're not going to be able to manage how much you spend. Same thing with like losing weight or really anything. So staying organized and having some type of system set up can really help your success.
Let's fast forward now. Walk me through like when you decided to do this full time. Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous, and I'm very lucky to have supportive people behind me. Like when I was thinking of making the leap, I at first I didn't want to make the leap. One, because I wanted to house hack again, and it's super hard to get a home loan if you don't have that 9-to-5 income, right? Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, I want to house hack again, but I'm not going to be able to have the income, and I just kept going back and forth. And I was like, what if TikTok, dies tomorrow?
There was a time.
There was a time that, the president was going to ban TikTok. So,
right.
It was very, very stressful. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I actually called up my mom and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about going full time. I think I can do this as like, if I focused 40 or 50 hours a week on TikTok, see how much I could scale it. I think there's a huge potential in that. And she was like, yeah, I think you're right. I think you should take the leap because, this is a golden opportunity, and, you can always go back to the 9-to-5 job. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's like, that kind of puts it into perspective, that, and the support from her was amazing. And I also talked to my girlfriend, had many conversations with her. I was like, what if it doesn't work out? What if something happens? What if? But, she was super supportive. She was like, look, like worst case scenario, you get another job. It's not going to be the end of the world. If TikTok fails or if you run out of money or whatever, just go get another job. You're young. This opportunity might not be there. And so having those supportive people really helped me take the leap. And, it's probably been one of the best decisions I've ever made with the help of them. So
I think that's like the hidden hero, the unsung hero, I think of any journey in life, the support systems.
Yes.
Right. Whether it's making a career change, because I actually pivoted my career from law about 4 years ago. Now, I'll be 4 years in March. I went from being a lawyer at a global law firm making a big salary to go to a tech company where it was a much bigger risk. Had
Yeah.
I not had the support of my wife and my parents and her family to say, do this, it'll be okay. You can always go back to law if you want to. I might not have done that. And it was
Right.
life changing for me.
Yeah, exactly. That support system is huge. And let me ask you this: were you spending everything you earn, or were you living, lavishly, or were you, living frugally, and you could, maybe take a pay cut and move to a higher risk position?
That's the thing. Had I not known what I was spending, had I not had that organized to be able to look at the numbers and say, okay, I can do this, I'd have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's
Right.
what for anyone who's looking to take a risk, whether it's to move to a startup or be an entrepreneur or whatever, you need to know how much you're spending. You need to be living, within your means so you can actually take that risk. And that way your income has the potential to really, be exponential.
Okay. So if somebody is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I might want to quit my job and go off on my own and do something, whatever they're passionate about, what what are the big takeaways here?
Yeah, I think the first one is, people really try to find their passion, and it's hard to find your passion. It really is. But I would say just, try a bunch of different things and really learn what you truly enjoy doing. I really enjoy helping people, with their finances and get organized and all that. If you're just trying to become an entrepreneur because it's the hot thing or get rich quick thing to do, you're going to end up failing. And that's the ultimate thing is like, you need to really truly love doing this, because I'll tell you what, like when I was working my 9 to 5, I was doing TikToks on the weekends and nights and weekends basically. So I'd do like 8 hours as an accountant, and then 4 or 5 hours after that.
Right.
And now I'm just doing like, I probably work more now than I did than I did before I left my 9 to 5, just because I love doing this stuff. I love talking to people. I love, making videos and things like that. So you really, really have to love what you're doing in order to take the leap. Don't just do it for a quick cash grab or anything like that. That's
Big.
one of the biggest takeaways.
I love it. Love what you're doing. Be passionate about it, because whether you're working for a startup or you're on your own, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of work. So be passionate about it. I think one of the other big takeaways was be organized, know what your expenses are, know what your capacity for living frugally is. If you know you're not going to make a lot of money early on, like you did, be able to either scale back or maybe pick up some. Did you ever pick up any other jobs or do anything like that on the side?
Not so much. I mean, temporarily being a landlord, half the time. So,
Okay. All right.
I
So you
was
had the
house
hack.
hacking, but that was really it. And I was just kind of, living within my means and knowing how much I'm spending each month. So that's true.
Okay. The last question I have for you is, do you think the 9 to 5 is overrated?
Slightly underrated, I might say, because a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
people think that it just depends on your like position. People will hate on the 9 to 5 because it's cubicle life and you're wasting away 40 years in order to retire at 65. But in reality, I think there's a silver lining with it. Is like most millionaires, like true wealthy millionaires, become wealthy just from a 9 to 5, from investing consistently and earning money from their 9 to 5. And if you like that comfort and if you like that consistency, I think it's a great way to become wealthy. I'm not going to hate on the 9 to 5 at all. I'm just a little biased towards entrepreneurship. So I think when you're young, you should definitely take risks. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5 in my opinion.
Completely agree with you. I've come at my career in an interesting way. I obviously went to law school. I did a clerkship for a year after law school, and I worked for two law firms, and then I pivoted to a tech company. I've always had a 9 to 5, although I would say the corporate job 9 to 5 is so much different than the startup 9 to 5. Startups are not 9 to 5. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 8 to midnight.
Right.
And then I decided to throw some content creation in on the side too.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? The 9 to 5 is a great base.
Yes.
And had I not had that corporate job as a lawyer, I would not have had the skills and the knowledge to go crush the startup.
Mhm.
Like, I think I have such a great base to do what I'm doing right now, which we sell software to lenders
Mhm.
to basically organize real estate deals.
Wow,
Had I
that's
not been closing real estate deals, I wouldn't, have that base to be able to do that.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it really has that foundation to build you up even further. And even when I was in a 9 to 5, I was an accountant.
Right.
And so, I had that consistent income like per month. So I could make TikToks and like not have to worry about getting brand deals or getting affiliate links or whatever. So I would encourage people to have that solid foundation, have that 9 to 5 job for a little bit, and then you can really take those risks, whether it's a startup or entrepreneurship, once you feel comfortable to take that leap, and you can scale your income from there.
It's great advice, great tips. I hope that for the people that are out there watching that are maybe on the cusp of trying to find something they're passionate about to do, or they're in a 9 to 5, this will help. I think there's a lot for everybody to take away from it. So, John, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you? They're probably already following you, but go ahead anyway.
Yeah, no, dude, this conversation has been fantastic. I consider you a good friend, and I would love to have more of these chats in the future. But if you're watching, you can find me on TikTok at Johnefinance, as well as Instagram at Johnefinance. And I'm trying to dabble more in YouTube as well. So check me out there as well.
Awesome. John, real pleasure.
Cool. Thank you so much, Ian. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. But listen, the best way to remember something is to write it down. So go to the comments, write down what you learned, and if you want bonus points, go out in the world and do it. Until next time, I'm Ian Group. Peace.